Yes, I have been very busy doing carvings of little people. So these are all 3-inch. And then the smaller ones there, they're 2-inch. I find that the 3-inch are tall enough so you can put some detail into them. Now the gnomes in the back are right off of a 6-inch piece of wood, just like these. This is the wood that I use. I highly recommend it. So I'll include on the little gnomes a 1-inch block at the bottom. The birds are all 1 by 1 as well. I'm going to put a little more detail in it than Alex Lacasse. I believe I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but that's where I learned to carve the little finches. The cardinals, Doug Linker. Here's one that has a little more detail than the rest of them. Oh, and by the way, the little gnome that I did, this guy, several videos back, this was the scraps left from him. I'm finally starting to get the little trees together. This is a 1 by 1 little witch head that I did. I've never done a witch before. Female faces are hard to do. But if it can be an ugly woman, I can carve an ugly woman pretty easily. For some reason, pretty girls are hard to carve. So these little people, once you have the technique, they're pretty easy to carve. And pretty quick. I've got to the point to where I can carve these in about 30 minutes. But it takes just as long to paint it. So about an hour for each one of these guys to complete. Well, yeah, I painted my little gnome with the Christmas gnome. So these are what they look like before I paint them. The little 2-inch guys were simply scraps from some birds that I did earlier. For some reason, that guy reminds me of Putin. So obviously, the more you do, the better you get at carving. And I've really put some effort on trying to make the human face. Been following a lot of the character carvers of America. They're really good at doing the face. And practice. So I've been doing a lot of these, I call them coffee break gnomes. So I make them with let's see, it's coffee cups, coffee mugs. And that guy's going to be holding a glass of beer. I'm making that one for my brother. Now I will get back to the goldfinch, but I do have a treat because I have some new tools that I'm going to be reviewing here shortly. And then we'll get back to the goldfinch. So, wood carving for a hobby. It is a cool hobby. It's fun and it's meditative. So when you take a block of wood, even a simple like 1 by 1 block of wood, and you lay out some parameters for what you want to carve, and you start carving, your full attention is zeroed in on this. For one reason, you don't want to cut yourself. If you get a good, decent carving knife, one cut with this could send you to the ER. So you don't want to cut yourself, so you're focused right here. Now, if there's a bunch of stuff going on and other people talking to you and stuff, I wouldn't recommend it. This is something that is your meditative time. Being outside is good. Being away from hustle and bustle and screaming and pulling your attention. All that mess has to go aside and you focus here. That's why it's so meditative. Some people would like compare it to maybe a game of golf where you're focused and time just goes like that. I don't play golf, so I don't know. So you can go one or two routes. You could get simple blocks of wood like this. You could get bigger block of wood if you want a more substantial carving. Or you could go with a blank that's cut out and in the square, and then you take it to the round. Or you can get a rough out. Rough outs are fairly new to me. They've been around a while. But rough out is, I don't have one to show you, but I do have a catalog and I can show you some really nice rough outs. If you don't have a saw and you're interested in doing the more detailed part of the carving, rough outs are a real nice way to come up with a really nice carving that can become an heirloom. All right, so this is what a good pattern looks like. Let's kind of zoom in here so you can get an idea what's going on. And these patterns you can buy from your wood carving supplier. And this is what a blank looks like. These are referred to as blanks. And they're cut off from the pattern. And this is what you can buy. So you don't have to have a saw. You can purchase these from your wood carving supplier. Get the pattern too, so you know what your goal is. And you're off to the races. This is the newest tree line catalog. Let's take a look. And Chris Hammack is a well-known character carver. And you can get these blanks. You order from the catalog and you can get these blanks and carve those. There's full figures, so they'll stand. And here's a good example of what a rough out is. A rough out comes to you like that, and it's your job to make it like that. Now you can change them, tweak them, make them your own, but having it already roughed out in the shape, you're basically detailing it. I'll be honest, I've never done one. It'd be interesting to do one. I believe in the classes that a lot of people teach, they start here and they teach you techniques for creating the eyes, nose, all the details. But a pretty cool option. So if you're considering wood carving as a hobby, once again, it is a great hobby. And there's a lot of people that are doing it that provide a network of support, learning. There's classes you can take, online classes, so they're not that expensive. So you don't, when I was young and doing wood carving, all the classes you had to go somewhere on an airplane, stay at a hotel, attend the classes, and they were $1,000, even more. You can get classes now for $100, $200. A good resource is the International Woodcarvers Association. Good group to learn from. Now, as far as your knives go, there's plenty of knife companies out there. When you're starting, that is going to be the biggest expense that you have. With a knife, so you could do rotary tool carving or knife carving. And honestly, your first purchase of a rotary tool or a knife, a good knife, is going to be about equal. A really good knife, easily Helvy knives, they come incredibly sharp. I didn't know what sharp was until I opened a Helvy knife for the first time. It made razor blades seem dull. Highly polished, very professional knife. Flex Cut makes knives, and that's a good beginner knife. But you can expect to pay somewhere between $25 to $30. Upwards to $60 for like real high-end, high-quality knife. Get the best one you can afford. I carved with a pocket knife for the first probably 5-6 years. I can't tell you how many times I cut myself. When I bought a wood carving knife for the first time, my learning curve shot way up. I got a lot better very quickly. So having a good quality knife, I can't stress it enough. With rotary tools, you can do a lot with just a simple Dremel tool. But then you need to start buying bits for your Dremel tool to carve. There's several websites or YouTube channels out there for rotary carving. And I have, in my previous videos, a review of some bits and some rotary tools that I've used throughout the years. So my background is pretty much been in realistic bird carving. I have a video on this guy that I did. This is the tufted titmouse. I still have not painted him, but I will. I will. And the bird carving kind of took off from the decoy carving niche that was there for years and years, and progressed into birds, and now even fish, realistic looking birds, fish, everything, animals. And it seems like the people that carve animals do animals, and people that carve characters carve characters. I'm not going to limit myself. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to do it all. And it's fun. So you should do it too. So if you're new to wood carving, basically there's 2, maybe 3 woods that you would use for carving. Basswood, which comes from the American linden tree. In the UK, there's limewood. But from the south, there's a wood called tupelo. And Tupelo is very, very light wood. It feels like balsa wood, but you can actually carve it. A lot of bird carvers will carve the mass of the bird out of Tupelo because it's extremely light. And when they do their habitat and it's like way cantilevered out like this, it's light enough that it won't take a whole lot to hold it in that position. It doesn't make it top heavy, it won't tip over. It's more, Tupelo is more for rotary carving than blade carving because it's so light that if your blade isn't very sharp, it'll crush. But if you're a rotary carver, try to get your hands on some Tupelo. It will super easy to carve. It's like a hot knife through butter. So stylized carving. This is interesting and this is fun. Let me show you some of the stylized birds that I have back here. So this is a wren, and I'm going to bring it right up to the camera. This is a stylized wren. And this really allows you to be artistic, use your imagination. I really did a lot of drawing on this before I went to town on it, but I tried to make it more air than wood. I have a little hummingbird over here. I have a couple hummingbirds. Here's a little hummingbird on a perch. And you see the stand for it is just as important as the carving itself. To bring it all together into one sculpture. Here's a hummingbird that I did. I really put a lot of effort into the wings. You can see there. But you can see that the habitat or the stand for it has just as much thought and artwork put into it as the sculpture itself. Well, hopefully this little video has been helpful. If there's any questions, please just put them in the comments down below. I will get back to you. Hope you have a wonderful day. Please like, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time.